New reports, 5 pilots coming forward over the weekend saying they've had multiple mid-air encounters with high-flying, fast-moving objects.
The New York Times speaking with 5 Navy pilots who've all said they've encountered UFOs during training missions up and down the East Coast.
Now our next guest is sounding off in a brand new series on History Channel called Unidentified: Inside America's UFO Investigation. Christopher, do you believe the UFOs exist?
We know that UFOs exist. This is not no longer an issue. The Navy itself has publicly acknowledged the fact that they exist, and Navy pilots, active duty pilots, have gone on the record in the New York Times acknowledging the fact that they exist. So the issue now is, why are they here? Where are they coming from? And what is the technology behind these devices that we're observing? Ultimately, Lou concluded, and I concluded, that the only way to make progress on this issue was from the outside, to take the information to the public and the Congress. That's what this show is about, and that's what these military pilots are helping us with.
So is it fair to boil it down to 2 possibilities? Either another country has leapfrogged the United States in technology, or extraterrestrial?
Those are the leading hypotheses, yes.
And what do you think?
I don't have a conclusion at this point. We're trying not to jump and leap to conclusions. We think that's actually an impediment to progress, because once you start talking about aliens, a lot of people just shut down. Right, so what we need is more information.
But how do you explain that there have been so many of these sightings and nothing has happened?
It is in part a social phenomenon. There's a stigma. It's been difficult to get people in the bureaucracy, in the military, and the intelligence community to understand they can deal with this without being penalized. Nobody's been assigned responsibility for collecting on this. So our different agencies and departments are not sharing information on this topic heretofore, not pulling it together. So the picture hasn't come into focus, and it's taken the pilots themselves speaking out publicly to really get this on everybody's agenda.
Officials sounding the alarms about UFOs.
Now they're telling their stories in history's new docuseries, Unidentified: Inside America's UFO Investigation.
This is not just a show to entertain. This is a mechanism to change the way the government acts. You're going to see us dealing with the Senate, us meeting with the intelligence services of other governments, and everyone is coming out of the woodwork and saying, this is real, we got to do something about it, and it very well could be a threat, but we can't put our head in the sand.
Have guided Congress with getting all the data, all the briefings, and all the people in various parts of the government to brief the senators and congressmen. We did all that. It actually leaked a handful of weeks ago when you saw these articles in the New York Times and whatever, where it said the Navy is creating formal mechanisms for reporting UFOs. That was us. That was To the Stars Academy. That was our show. It's on the show. It's really just following around what we do at To the Stars Academy. We deal with the U.S. government every single day. And so we were organizing all of this, and we just kind of followed it around with a camera.
The U.S. Navy is preparing new guidelines for pilots on how to report sightings of UFOs.
I know personally and directly, senators they're falling out of their seats that this is real. They had no idea, and so now they're moving. And the show will keep their constituents energized, which will keep the pressure on them.
Nobody wants to see that on TV. And the government is now being systematic in investigating the question of UFOs. A new History Channel documentary called Unidentified will explore the military's many recent encounters with unidentified aircraft. Do you believe, based on your decade of serving in the U.S. government on this question, that the U.S. government has in its possession any material from one of these aircrafts?
I do, yes.
All right. Well, we have a lot more to find out, and I'm very glad that you came on our show tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
What was the question?
Does the U.S. government have material?
And what was your answer?
It's yes.
Well, no, we keep an open mind, as I say, and some of these things probably are Russian or Chinese, whoever it is, but that's the point. We must find out if there's something in our airspace we need to know. For years, governments said they didn't do this. They did. I did it for the British government. I can only talk about this now because my old employers are gradually declassifying and releasing information about my old job. We now know, of course, the Pentagon had a program too. I think it will take congressional hearings to get to the bottom of all this, not just in the United States, but all around the world. And I'd like to see those congressional hearings.